We are live, dude. What's up, guys? Hey, Josh and Luke right here, our first podcast, so you're going to have to bear with us. No music. We can't even figure out how to get this darn artwork loaded up with the iTunes. Spent the last 2 hours doing that when I could be doing business. But we decided to put this iPad podcast.
It's a podcast, Josh.
Sorry, dude. This podcast together for a couple of reasons. We're two brothers. We're 6 years apart. Grown in the same household, same parents. All that goes along with being a brother. But we took two different paths to where we are at today. I'm the older brother, as though you can't tell that. I'm just better looking. And say what?
That's debatable.
I decided to take the college route. I was a Division I athlete, was on a scholarship, graduated, went to corporate America, grinded that out for 6 to 7 years, and then I decided to become my own boss and do this thing called entrepreneurship, and it's been just an amazing journey. While my brother Luke decided to take the other route, drop out of college, live a life doing whatever young kids do, and then finding his passion, health and fitness, and now he is building a strong business. Empower. I don't know what I just said. Empower. I got my daughter over here looking in the window. Hi, Elia. But we are two fathers. We're married, and we have a passion for people that allows our area. I don't know what am I looking for, dude. You gotta help me out, dude. This ain't a single podcast here. God dang.
You're doing such a great job, though. I'm just admiring your voice right now.
Well, you freaking couldn't jump on it, Tom. So now I'm all flustered because my daughter's up and we have to get this thing done. But we have a passion to use what we're doing in our business world to impact people's lives. And so he's in health and fitness. I kind of do nutritional, but a lot more seems like life coaching. When you say that, that's what we do. I think we're a therapist, and oftentimes we understand when someone has to make that mindset shift to lose the 10 to 20 pounds, they have to change a lot about themselves and create different disciplines. And in that, it starts transforming their whole life. They just have more confidence or whatever it might come out to, but they become better employees. They become better parents. And that's what it's really about for us. I think we each have our own journey to get to where we're at right now. And we'll definitely talk about those journeys later in different podcasts and things of that nature. But you know what? God has his own journey for us. And we're here today and ready to take this to whoever is willing to listen. Luke, you are going to kill me on this.
You said everything.
What do you want to add, dude? Golly.
Yeah, I mean, the whole purpose.
Are you out of the closet finally?
Yeah, I came out of the didn't sound right. I lost you.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I mean, the whole purpose, I think the underline of this entire podcast is it doesn't matter how you grew up. Even if you grew up in the same household, people look at it two different views. It doesn't matter what route you take. If you're a college graduate or a college dropout or a high school dropout, you see successful people all around you. And what it all comes down to is really just bettering yourself through personal growth. Of course, we believe you definitely need some kind of religious Christianity background, and that helps out with the positive and the life-growing aspect of life. But as long as you're willing to grow every single day personally through growth, personal development, whatever it may be, you can make any circumstance a great circumstance.
Yeah, great word. So what do you think, like, without going too much to your journey, right? You're someone that was kind of living in your own world. What changed or what made you make that mental switch? Because that's what it really comes down to, right? It comes down to finally making a decision where they say desperation meets inspiration. Things start to transform, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Another great saying that I use all the time in my fitness business is people change of one of two reasons, either motivation or desperation. And that's probably kind of where it started out with me. I remember at age 25 is when I finally decided I mean, there's nothing great going on in my life. I've been a server for 5 years at this point. Again, no college degree. And
Good
I
old
was
years.
looking at people at my work that were in their 40s, 50s, 60s.
You were living your life driving other people's cars that had nice cars. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. But I was working with people in their 50s plus who were working 2 to 3 jobs just to pay their bills. And luckily, I had the awareness at age 25 that I didn't want to live that way. And I had to make a change. So I just remember age 25 was when the time I was like, it's time to grow up. It's time to actually do something important with my life. And that's when I first decided to go the training route, because I knew I always loved helping people, which is why in the past I tried to be either a police officer, I tried to be a firefighter, but eventually went the training route. And I loved working out, which you're hearing my story in another podcast, but it makes sense because the only 2 classes I really passed in college was a weightlifting class and a nutrition class. So it all just kind of comes together.
I think it's funny because I mean, I think about our journeys, right? So I just heard in that, and then I'm just all these memories of. So for you guys that don't know, I'm in Texas right now. I'm in a city called Rockwall, Luke's in Cabina, Glendora, San Dimas, one of those areas, San Gabriel Valley in California. And so we grew up. We have a middle brother who's 3 years after me, 3 years obviously before Luke. And me and Luke were the closest, and so we have all these memories. And just funny because at 19, 20 years old, I left to go to Texas. And so it just, distance, no matter how close or how much we talk on the phone, you just miss out on a lot of different things. And so to hear you say the only 2 classes you passed was nutrition and fitness, I think it's just cool because I think anybody that looks at their journey in their life can see like these different stepping stones, although they don't seem like stepping stones in the moment, right? And so like I got into corporate America I got into entrepreneurship and the health and nutrition world after 6 to 7 years in corporate America, and I absolutely couldn't stand it. I had like one good year where I enjoyed my boss, I enjoyed the office. We moved offices, and the whole leadership structure changed. I couldn't stand getting there so early and leaving so night. I didn't like the people I was working with. It was just a completely different structure. But what I was able to do was work a lot of different businesses and a lot of different industries, which allowed me to develop the skills that I need to do what I'm doing today. And so, it's just cool to hear you say that because I think all of us have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you passed nutrition and fitness, and then who got you into personal training?
It was actually, that one Christmas I came to visit you. On the airplane, there was a fitness magazine that I was reading, and it just kind of hit me. I was like, maybe I'll be a trainer. Which, I don't know. I mean, luckily for us, I think we have extremely supportive parents. So this was probably my 3rd or 4th time changing careers. And they didn't say anything. They're like, all right, good luck. Which ended up being the best thing for me. And then, of course, I went the corporate route through training, but then, like I said, found the entrepreneurship. And I think it just always stems from, there's always been something in my gut where I knew I was meant for something bigger. And working for somebody else, it just couldn't make that happen. And it's just grow from there.
Has that been always a feeling on you? Like, have you always had that feeling like there's something bigger out there? I'm designed for something greater.
Yeah, it actually has. I don't know where it came from or just something God put on our heart, but yeah, I've just always felt like I was designed for something bigger than myself to help as many people as I could.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Do you hear that?
Yeah, my kids don't cry like that.
Well, they're good. Maybe later on you give me some parenting advice on what to do. When you have one, it's easy. That's cool, man. That's cool. So yeah, we're going to be just kind of diving into that because, there's so many patterns and different ways to get to ultimate purpose. But when you dive into people's lives, I think you see common threads, right? Failure, if you want to look at it like that. Stepping stones, growth. And what I find out are the people who start to succeed are those who continue to move forward. And I think so often what we're seeing with adults and And I say adults because, man, I think it's a sad state when you have someone comes to my nutrition club and we start talking about life and they've been miserable for the last 7 to 8 years, but they're not willing to read the next book, or they're not ready to listen to the next podcast, or they're not willing to go get a mentor, or whatever it might be. Like, so many people are content, and I say that word loosely, because they don't feel like there's much more out there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's especially like, again, in my fitness business, I mean, I have over 50 clients, but I'd say at any given time, there's maybe 2 to 5 of them actually getting results at a time. And they all work out the same amount. They all have a new customized nutrition plan for them, but some of them are willing to do the daily habits that create success, and others are just comfortable and happy to say that they're working out. And it just kind of goes into any area of your life. With the workforce, some people thrive to get better, to move up in their advance in their careers, and some people are just happy to have a job and pay bills.
Right.
So it always comes down to you have to have a purpose greater than yourself. If it's all about us, we're not going to do anything about it. But if we're trying to maybe help our family improve or help society, then we could find something bigger and having a little extra motivation.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, well, I guess we came together, we started thinking about this podcast. Like, what are your hopes out of getting accomplished in this podcast? Or,
So my biggest hope out of this is just to show what normal, average guys can accomplish. I think another big thing, like you go around and you look at millionaires or anyone that's in your mind more successful than you, and you think they have something special. But then if you actually start hanging out with the millionaires and the successful people, you realize there's nothing special about them. They just work a little bit harder, they work a little bit smarter, and they're consistent at what they do. So from what I've learned the last 4 years, my hopes is just to share what I've learned, and that if it helps one person grow, great. If it helps one person make more income or make someone's family or marriage better, that's my biggest hopes out of it.
yeah, I think that's the cool thing about this podcast is, like, a lot of these podcasts I listen to, these people have already, like, hit it successfully, right? Whatever that is defined. And here we are, just two average people who, we've had some success and we've done pretty well, but we're still, like, right there. We haven't done anything special. And I think about, like, when you're leading people, sometimes it's intimidating to look at someone who's, at level 95 and you're at level 3. And so hopefully really to speak to people that are, like, ready to start this journey, that maybe we can give them some inspiration. Like, hey, it's okay to jump off that ledge and go. It's okay to, like, fail a couple of times and get up and dust those knees off. Like, that's what it's about. Yeah, so I'm hoping just to, who knows, we inspire one person, who knows what can happen.
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of came to my mind through the John Maxwell book, 15 Valuable Laws, he talks about law of intentionality, which is just growing intentional and not by accident. But within that chapter, he has growth gaps. Why certain people, why we think the way we think, and why we might not be successful at something. And one of them is the timing gap, which is probably perfect for this, is people don't want to start something because it's not the perfect time for them to start, or they don't have everything in line, which I think this podcast right here is a perfect example where you don't have to be
all put together.
There is no perfect start.
What were you talking about before we started? You're like, well, guess what? No music. We'll just figure this out as we go. Our 100th podcast is going to look different than this one, right?
Yeah.
So what's the key to all that? You have to start.
Yeah, just start and have fun.
And laugh a lot along the way. Don't take it too serious, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Hi, baby.
So you have a baby?
My daughter wanted to say hi.
What's up, Tegan? So how old is she? Are we putting that on social media?
We have a 14-month-old, the cutest daughter in the world.
What do you think about that, Elliot? And then Jaden. So yeah, so you're how long have you been married, Luke?
I've been married for going on 3 years.
3 years. Dang, you guys are babies.
All right.
God. What?
She said she's only 27. She has her whole life to live.
Oh my goodness, you are youngins. So I've been married 11 and a half years. We've got 3 kids. We got this kid who's 5. We got one sleeping who's 3. I'll be 3 next month, and this one who's 16 months. And so one thing I love about what we do too is I think it's going to be clear through this podcast that our family is more important than any amount of success. And I think we can prove to people that you can have success without sacrificing too much, right? There's definitely sacrifice on all parts. You can't have everything in the world equal. For instance, you can't get healthy and drop your body fat if you want to eat pizza every single night, right? There's going to be some sacrifices. And so, but for the most part, we have the flexibility to work our businesses how and when we want to do that. And yeah, man, I'm excited about this podcast.
Yeah, so what do they have to look forward to in the next few podcasts?
Great question. So our next podcast, we're going to be getting a little more into Luke's story, where he's come from. I'm actually really excited about this because already I'm figuring out I get to interview and ask questions about Luke, right? So how much do I really know about my brother? And we want to share our hearts with you, right? So I personally want to share with you like some things I had to go through in order to get here, and some of it's good and some of it's bad. And I know growing up we had 2 different experiences, even though we live in the same household. And so we'll get into that a little bit and hopefully start painting a picture of you guys that look, our destination is the same place. Maybe we just took different sides of the mountain. And so and then after that, we'll go ahead and share my story a little bit. And then we really plan on getting some people that we admire and get some interviews going for you guys so you can hear about all these different men, right? It might be women. I specifically have a passion for men because I think we have a lot of passive men out there that are stepping up the challenge. And I say that pretty boldly because I used to be a man just like that. I mean, my first couple of years of marriage, I was dropping the ball tremendously. And not that I'm anywhere close to being the perfect person by any means, and won't be that perfect person until I die. But man, I was passive. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And so really having power for men out there, older men who have been through this journey, who have stuck it out, who have continued running the race. And so maybe we'll get some guys on the podcast interview that way as well. So
absolutely. So we're just 2 brothers, 2 paths, 1 mission. We're unmiked, as you can tell. No editing allowed here.
No editing. No mic. We don't need any of that stuff. We got kids all over the place. Why? Why do that? That's not real life. Cool, guys. Hey, well, check us out. Luke, what's your Instagram account?
You could check me out at Luke Rangel Fitness. Just Instagram Luke Rangel Fitness. And then our new podcast is just PK Unmiked.
PK Unmiked, new podcast. You can find us on YouTube, PK Unmiked. I'm going to try to start downloading some stuff there. And then we also, you can find me on Instagram at Joshua D. Rangel. If you're in the Dallas area, look up Rock Y'all Nutrition and come on in. I'll treat you. So you guys have a great day. Luke, love you, bro.
Love you too, brother.
Later.